this team is an incredible team. And that includes Army Corps of Engineers, a lot of our military people, our admirals, our generals. Got one of our great admirals here who's done an incredible job. You haven't slept too much in the last 2 months either. Look at him. But somebody said to me, President, you look tired. I said, I should be tired. We should all be tired, but we have to win, right?
Yes, sir.
We continue to procure millions of swabs, test collectors. I have something here, just happen to have it. It's a swab. Looks innocent, not very complicated. Anybody like to see what it looks like? Should I open it? Does everybody? Open it up. I will. I will. This is what it's about, right? Does it remind you of something? Reminds you of this, right? One's a swab, one's a Q-tip. It's actually different. It's very sophisticated, actually, but it's a little bit like, so this is the swab. And we've ordered a lot of them. They have a lot of them. Some of them, some of the states, they were shipped to states, and the states don't know where they are. And but that's it. Why don't we give this to Karen? Perhaps she'll take an extra test. Right? But very importantly, he's just a very respected gentleman. To see this was a very nice feeling. Not for me necessarily, but for all of the people that have worked with us. I mean, they've worked so hard, and we've developed tests that are so fantastic. We've come up with things that nobody had ever heard of, and we did it during this pandemic. We did it under pressure. It's called reaction under pressure. It's pretty amazing what our people have done, and that includes all of our military people and our CDC, just about everybody you can imagine, including Tony and Deborah. And they've worked long hours. There's nobody that's getting a lot of sleep.
As I just said,
No sound?
we bent the curve. We
Other
flattened
than
the
that, it's a nice
curve.
slip. He's a good-looking guy.
Government did it, people did it, but government facilitates people's actions, right? We had to double the hospital capacity in New York State. That's what all the experts said. President brought in the Army Corps of Engineers. They built 2,500 beds at Javits that Michael and Northwell were operating. It was a phenomenal accomplishment. Close to 1,000 people have gone through Javits. Luckily, we didn't need the 2,500 beds, but all the projections said we did need it, and more, by the way. So these were just extraordinary efforts and acts of mobilization. And the federal government stepped up and was a great partner. And I'm the first one to say it. We needed help, and they were there. State and local governments were fantastic. The hospital system was fantastic. New Yorkers were fantastic. And that is an undeniable fact. Just to look at what they said was going to happen. CDC, Coronavirus Task Force, Cornell, McKinsey, all of them. And they had a line up here, and the actual line is down here. What do you owe the variance to? Heroic efforts on behalf of people as facilitated by government, federal and state.
You actually had something else. Are they finished with it? They left out the good part. Great job, fellas.
What was the good part?
They did a better job on ventilators. No. Andrew had something else to say that was really nice, but we won't go through that. But he really, I mean, it was really a good statement. Do you want to put the rest of it up, or do you not have it? I just think it's so good because it's bipartisan. You know, this is not about Democrats, Republicans. This is about a thing that hit our country, the likes of which has never happened to us before. Wars, those wars, Civil War, sure, but the First World War, the Second World War, they're not fought on this country. This is being fought in this country, but it's being fought in 184 countries all over the world. It's terrible. But I want to thank Andrew Governor Cuomo for the statement. He actually, if you go a little bit further, it was even far beyond even that. So it was good. You remember? Huh? Well, that's okay. Whatever. But he said some really good things, and it makes people feel good. It's actually the Wall Street Journal. Christopher was saying, I want to make people feel good too. I want to make, when they're doing a good job, I want to make people feel good. I want the Admiral to feel good. He's worked so hard. Mike has worked so hard, and it was very nice. It was on this morning. It was Andrew this morning. It's a little longer clip than that, but you'll see it was really a very nice thing that he said, and people really appreciate that because they've done a great job. The federal government's done a great job. I mean, with all of it, and this is easy. The swabs that's easy. We have them coming by the tens of millions. We have them coming at a level that you'll have so many swabs you won't know what to do with them. The team doing that is an incredible team of military people and young geniuses. Some are older geniuses, but mostly younger geniuses, I think I can say. Some of people that made vast amounts of money in Silicon Valley. And, these are very smart people. The job they've done is incredible. And I said, where do you come from? Well, I sold my company, sir. Oh, really? How much did you get? I think he said $700 million. I said, that's good. You want to work for the government? No, I want to help our country, sir. And it's tremendous brain power. It's a beautiful thing to see. Young, incredible people that love this country, and they worked with the military. Admiral, you would say they were pretty smart, right? Yes, sir. They were in the upper scales of IQ. Yes, they were the upper. They were the top scale, I'll tell you. And they're great people. Moreover, we're bringing supply chains back home, and we've learned a lot about supply chains. We've learned that it's nice to make things in the U.S. I've been saying that for a long time. One of the reasons I ran for office, because we started making things everywhere but here. And if one thing comes out of this, more than anything else, it's that we should make product in the United States. And these supply chains, they sound wonderful. But if one country has a problem, the whole chain is ruined. And I've been saying it for a long time. I ran partially on that. I ran on that, and I ran very strongly against China. And then we made a great trade deal where they buy $250 billion. They're supposed to. And they're paying tariffs. They paid us tens of billions of dollars. I've given $12 billion one year, $16 billion another year, and $19 billion to our farmers and ranchers who were targeted. But, I ran on China and other countries the way they were ripping us off. They were ripping off our country. And China understood that. I mean, China fully understood that. And they're big, strong, smart people. And I wasn't friendly, and it wasn't a friendly situation. And we ended up making an incredible deal with China for tens of billions of dollars of product, $40 to $50 billion to the farmers. The most they ever spent was 15 to 16. Now they're supposed to spend 40 to 50. Now, of course, the virus came along, and I'm not happy. And I let them know I'm not happy. So, we had a great relationship we had a very bad relationship with China. Then we had a good relationship because we made a great deal. But we're not happy. This is not a good thing that happened. Came out of China, so we're not in a position where we're going to say much yet. But the deal itself is great. The deal it's going to put many, many people to work in our country, but all of that has to be taken into account when you look at all of the people that are dying in our country, but all over the world. All over the world, people are dying. I had a G7 call, and their economies are in tatters. They're shattered. The G7 countries. You have Japan and Germany and France. The different countries, Italy, look at what happened to Italy. Look at what happened to these countries. Look at what happened to Spain. Look what happened to Spain, how incredible. It's just been shattered. And so many other countries are shattered. So nobody ever thought this could have happened, a thing like this. It's very, very sad. But if we've learned something, it's about supply chains. I just saw yesterday where when the auto industry gets back, they have a problem because there's a supply chain going through a different country. And this has been going on for years, for decades. I always said it was no good. Why do we make it? Why do you need a supply chain? Very simple, make your parts here. They get one part from this country, one part from that country. It's all over the place. The problem is if one country has a problem, you have no car or whatever it is you're making. So we've learned a good lesson. I think a lot of smart people knew that before. But we've distributed many hundreds of millions of masks. This pandemic has underscored the vital importance of reshoring our supply chains and bringing them back into the United States where they belong, where they should have never left. What happens if you're in a war and you have a supply chain where half of your supplies are given to you by other countries? Who are the people that thought of this? These are globalists. It doesn't work. It certainly doesn't work during rough times, bad times, or dangerous times. So we're going to continue to fight the virus. We're talking to China. We spoke to them a long time ago about going in. We want to go in. We want to see what's going on. And we weren't exactly invited, I can tell you that. If you look at some of the investigations that are going on in terms of World Health Organization, and I'll take it a step further, World Trade Organization too, World Trade. We did years ago, many years ago, the World Trade Organization, from the day China came in, that's when China bloomed. They were mainlining it, and then boom, they were up like a rocket ship because they took advantage of every little ridiculous clause in the World Trade Organization documents. They were a developing nation. China was a developing nation. They make the cars, they make the plant, they make everything. And they're a developing nation. So we've had I might have gotten elected to a certain extent because of China and other countries. One of my big things was trade. The United States is getting ripped off in trade. Now Japan is paying $40 billion and buying a lot. That's before we even do the deal. U.S.-Mexico was a great deal. The NAFTA was one of the worst deals ever made in trade history. And I would also put the World Trade Organization in that same group. So I was very tough on these countries. With China, we made the deal, and we became friendly. But then this happened, and this is tantamount. This is something that's really incredible. I believe the term the governor used was phenomenal. We've done a phenomenal job. That was the term that was the only sentence they left out, which is okay. But I appreciate that that's what Governor Cuomo said. But they've done a phenomenal. These people have done a phenomenal job. As far as protesters, I see protesters for all sorts of things, and I'm with everybody. I'm with everybody. Please, in the back. Go ahead. In the back. Go ahead. You ready? Yeah.
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. President. Jen Pellegrino with OAN. Yesterday, you pointed out that Iran was likely not truthful in the reporting of the virus. Meanwhile, Senator Dianne Feinstein and other Democrats are looking for $5 billion in aid to Iran. Are you considering giving any aid to Iran?
If Iran needed aid on this, I would be willing to do something if they want it, if they ask for it. I would be certainly willing. They were hit very hard. Obviously, those numbers weren't correct numbers that they reported. But if they needed help, if they needed aid, if they needed ventilators, we have thousands of ventilators currently on hand, and ventilators under construction, that are under construction. That's a mosquito. I don't like mosquitoes. I don't like mosquitoes at all. But if they, we would certainly be willing to help. What they should do is be smart and make a deal. It's only because of, you look at what happened. It's John Kerry, I guess, just doesn't want them to make a deal. And they're probably figuring they can wait. And maybe it will be Biden, and they'll own America if Biden gets. And they know with me, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. If Joe Biden got in, they'd own America. Between them, China, Japan, Mexico, Canada, they'd own America. You wouldn't have a country left if he got in. No, we're going to be safe. We have to be safe. And we don't want to close anything. We're not going to be closing, but we're going to be doing it beautifully, systematically. We're working very well with the governors. I mean, I would say pretty much almost all of them. A couple of them, no matter what you do, you'll never satisfy them. You could find the cure tomorrow, and they wouldn't be satisfied. They'd find a reason to complain. Wise guys.
Many Americans are saying the exact same thing about you, that you should have warned them the virus was spreading like wildfire through the month of February instead of holding rallies with thousands of people. Why did you wait so long
Who are you
to
with?
warn them?
Who are you with?
And why did you
Yeah.
not have social distancing until March 16th?
Who are you with?
I'm Weijia Jiang with CBS News.
So if you look at what I did in terms of cutting off or banning China from coming in,
Chinese nationals. But by the way, not Americans who are also
nice and
coming
easy,
from China.
nice and easy, just relax. We cut it off. People were amazed. These gentlemen, everybody was amazed that I did it. We had 21 people in a room. Everybody was against it but me. Dr. Fauci said, had I not done that, perhaps tens of thousands, and maybe much more than that, people would have died. I was very early, very, very early. And we just saw, you saw Bret Baier making a statement. They had a debate well into February, and not even mentioned, it wasn't even mentioned, the Democrats. We were very early. Oh, I'm the president. And you know what I just did? And you know what I just...
And by the way, when you issued the ban, the virus was already here.
Okay, and you know how many people, when I issued the ban, how many cases of virus were in the United States when I issued the ban? Do you know the number? No, how many cases? Remember I said one person. How many cases were here when I issued the ban?
But
Tell
did
me.
you know?
No,
it was going
you have to do
spread
your
and become
research.
a pandemic?
How many...
I did my research. On the 23rd of March, you said you knew this was going to be a pandemic.
Can I tell you what?
well
I did
before
know it. I did know it. All I have to do is look.
So you knew it was going to
Anybody
spread.
knew it. Just, are you ready? How many cases were in the United States when I did my ban? How many people had died in the United States?
So do you acknowledge that you didn't think
Keep
it
your
was
voice
going
down,
to
please.
spread?
Keep your voice down.
Did you not
How
think it
many?
was going
How
to
many?
spread?
How many cases were in the United States? I did a ban where I'm closing up the entire country. How many people died?
And that's a fair point.
How many people died in the United States? And yet I closed up the country, and I believe there were no deaths, 0 deaths at the time I closed up the country. Nobody was there. And you should say thank you very much for good judgment. Go. Let's give it a shot.
Governor Cuomo, as you played in that clip, has indeed praised a lot of what the federal government has done, but he...
Excuse me. He didn't say a lot. He said we did a phenomenal job. He didn't say a lot. He didn't say you did a good job on ventilators but nothing else. No, he said we did a phenomenal job. So report accurately, because you are one of the most inaccurate reporters. Go ahead.
And what you read earlier was praising you and your administration.
All I played today was Governor Cuomo
to do that, sir.
saying very positive things about the job the federal government has done.
On the
And
day
those
more than
people,
40,000
and
Americans have now died.
those people have been just absolutely excoriated by some of the fake news, like you. You're CNN, you're fake news. And let me just tell you, they were excoriated by people like you that don't know any better because you don't have the brains you were born with. You should be praising the people that have done a good job, not doing what you do. Even that question. So just so you understand, if we didn't do a
The question is
job...
why now? Not why are you doing it,
I'll tell you
but
why now. Are you ready? Because these people are right now in hospitals. It's dangerous. It's going to a battlefield. And I want these people, I want you.
wasn't about
I want
hospital
you in the...
workers, sir. This wasn't about
It's
the
all about
doctors.
that.
This was
It's
about
not
you
about
and
me.
your
No,
administration.
nothing's about me. Look, you're never going to treat me fairly, many of you. And I understand that. I don't even know. I got here with the worst, most unfair press treatment, they say, in the history of the United States for a president. They did say Abraham Lincoln had very bad treatment, too. Let me just tell you.
It has your name in it. It talks about Trump remaking the playbook.
Well, that's a positive thing because that's an exercise in how to do it and what to do. And that's good for the future. People can learn from that. But I want the men and women of this country that are in danger, the admirals and the generals that have done a job like they've never done before. They're in war. We're in war. You know, I call it the invisible enemy. That's a war. And it's a dangerous war. We're also at a level, when you said 40,000 people, and you're right, almost 40,000 people. And what, oh, more than, okay, good, correct me.
41,000.
Good, well, I'm really glad you corrected me, CNN. But here's the story, let me just tell you something. If we didn't do what we did, the 40,000 right now could be 1 million people, not 40,000, it could be 1 million. We're tracking at much less than the lowest possible estimate. And that's a great tribute to a number of people and a number of things. One of the things that it's a tribute to is what's taken place in this country with the American people, because they've gone inside, they've done it. They've done a job that nobody thought was possible. And in fact, when they did the models, as they call them, nobody thought it was possible. They did models not based on this kind of success. I've seen New York streets, and I see it in the morning. I've watched all my life New York streets, and you can't even see the pavement. There's so many people. And you take a look this morning, you take a look, even on Friday morning, I looked at it, I saw it through a camera. There wasn't a person on Fifth Avenue, there wasn't a person on Madison Avenue. I've never seen anything like it, because people have really listened to instructions, and they've listened to what we've had to say, and the professionals, they've listened. And those people should really give them a lot of credit, including people like you, because you just don't have the sense to understand what's going on.
When you repeatedly praised Xi in January and February,
This guy doesn't
you
stop.
said he will solve the problem. You said he was doing a great job. Were you duped by President Xi?
No. I made a deal that's phenomenal for the United States. No, you know who was duped? You and the Obama administration were duped for years, because China was ripping off this country like in the history of any country. Nobody's been ripped off like the United States by China and many other countries. And we stop it. And we've done a deal where they're paying us $250. They are buying $250. They didn't do anything for us. You know, we didn't even have a deal. It was so bad.
After the deal. These comments are after the deal.
No. It is about a deal, because the deal started a long time ago, before anybody heard about this. The deal was finished a number of months ago. Very happy. I was very happy. I hope they were happy. Billions of dollars came in tariffs. Billions of dollars. They're going to be purchasing billions. And then all of a sudden, long after that, I find out about this. And I told you, I'm not.
Say, I think he's
listen,
doing a very good
CNN.
job.
Listen,
It's a
CNN.
big problem.
I told you I'm not happy about it. And this was after the deal. So we have this wonderful deal. And I was nobody's been tougher before the deal ever on China than Trump. Then I made a deal. I was very happy with the deal. It's a great deal, great for our farmers. The farmers have been paid a fortune already. Then what happened? No mistake, we made a great deal. Now I find out after the deal, I find out that I'm not happy. You people are so pathetic at CNN. Let me just tell you.
February 23rd.
Sure. I was very happy with the deal, very happy with everything. Then we find out about the plague, right? The plague. And since we found out about that, I'm not happy. But I closed it up long before Pelosi. Listen, long before Pelosi, you know, she was having parties in San Francisco. Let's all go to Chinatown. And that was a long time after I closed up the country.
Sir, this is
Go ahead, please.
So the first of the month is next week.
That's why your ratings are so bad, because you're pathetic. Go ahead, let's go.
Your quotes.
Your ratings are terrible. You got to get back to real news. Go ahead.
House announced a congressional task force on reopening America. It included every Republican senator but Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
Does that show that you're still holding a grudge against
Yeah,
Mitt Romney?
it does. Yeah. No, I'm not a fan of Mitt Romney at all. No, I had 52 Republican senators.
He was a governor. You don't want his advice.
Well, I just don't think, I'm not a fan of Mitt Romney. I don't really want his advice.